I recently visited Seoul for the first time and had to get out into nature, and the nature is right there. Bukhansan is a national park within the city of Seoul. I do not speak Korean, so please forgive my terrible Korean place name pronunciation. I didn't have too much time to go too far, so I decided to visit the southwest corner of the park, kind of close to where I was staying in Mapo. While in Korea, you have to use Naver Maps. It's excellent. Once you get it in English, this will be your best tool for getting around. And we want to head up to Bulgwang station, either on line 6 or line 3. Once you figure out Naver Maps, you can input these stations and these waypoints into Naver, and you will get this route. It's about 3.5 hours if you do pretty constant walk. My walk was more about 5 hours because I stopped to take a lot of photos and occasionally do a little side path. Even without Naver Maps, once you get to Bulgwang station, it's pretty easy to find. There are a lot of other hikers on the train with you, and when you come out, there are many signs and maps for Bukhansan Trail as well as the Seoul Trail, which I would love to do that sometime. It goes around the entire city of Seoul. So once you leave the exit 9 at Bulgwang station, takes you up through a few little neighborhoods, around a few bends, and you get to Bulgwang Park. And at Bulgwang Park, we're going to head up past a little temple, and then we enter at Bulgwang Park Ranger Post. So park hours are daylight only. The trails are pretty steep. A few spots are pretty treacherous. You definitely don't want to be up on those tall peaks during a lightning storm. Watch out for bugs, snakes, and wild pigs. Although a lot of it is stairs and sort of stair-like stone areas like this, some of it is open granite slopes and boulders that can get pretty treacherous. So I would say this is a lot of this is a difficult hike. Some of it's moderate, some of it's easy. But there are spots on the granite faces where you actually have to use chains, and there are small footholds chiseled into the rock. Most of the other hikers also had hiking poles. Good luck. The signage is really good, so it's pretty hard to get lost. Trails are well marked. There's a lot of people on the trail. And there's a lot of options for other smaller loops, and of course, bigger loops if you want to connect to the rest of the park. I really loved this as an autumn hike. The trees were pretty amazing. Lots of bonsai-esque pine trees. And then with the autumn colors changing, these gorgeous old gnarly oaks made this a beautiful hike.
좀 더 우야. When I started out on this hike, I was pretty certain I was going to be walking with crowds because on the subway here and at this station there were a lot of other hikers getting off, and as I walked up the main path this early in the morning, there were already tens of people coming down. But I decided to take a side path, and I've only passed one. I've had one other person pass me, and I've seen one other person. It's so quiet. It's fantastic. I mean, you can still hear the city, but better to be in a national park in the middle of a city than to just be in city. I mean, this could not be here, and that would suck. Pretty amazing to have a national park all inside of Seoul.
So after this peak, I had to go down a bit to get back up, and there was a lot more of this open granite, kind of treacherous hiking on open cliff faces with chains. But when I got down, I took a different path for a bit, and I wanted to get down into the forest so I could look for some plants and hopefully some wildlife. Lots of gorgeous plants in here, even with a little bit of fall color still left. I had noticed a few spots that I recognized as being dug up by wild boars, and then when I got up here, I even found the sign saying, "Watch out for wild boars." Besides the magpies, the crows were definitely one of my favorite things of the day. I'm always intrigued by biogeography and which plants and animals are the same or similar to back home in North America. I heard some tits or chickadee-like birds up in the pine trees, and sure enough, it was a marsh tit. Always love seeing magpies, which back in eastern Washington, we have the very similar black-billed magpie.
Well, this is one of the best urban hikes I've ever been on. Wow.
It was interesting right after getting out of the Seoul gate to see another wild boar trap. And then here, instead of taking the trail, I actually walked along the country road a bit so I could check out the farms. Farms are great places to see birds like this Asian tit. And then I also got to see a few more awesome oriental magpies. And then a bird I have only seen a few times before, a bull-headed shrike. And since this was the last bit of nature I was probably going to see out here in this part of Seoul, I lingered a bit along the farms looking for other birds and maybe a few insects. It was nice to see an azure magpie way out there. Where is it? Let's see. I think it's over there. There it is. They're really beautiful birds. The one last interesting critter, a gorgeous Joro spider. So now it was time to head back to Dokbawi station. From the farms, it was just a easy downhill, almost straight, and then a left on the main road. That gets us back to Dokbawi station where we can take line 6 back into the city. Don't forget to download Naver, check out these links for more information, and thank you very much for watching. I highly recommend taking a trip to Korea, to Seoul, and Bukhansan National Park. See you next time.